What's up, everybody? It's B&T. I'm T. What's up, B? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, man. How are you? How was the day?
Oh man, sitting on my butt, not doing a whole lot of laundry. The fun stuff.
That's what it's made for.
There you go. And we just ask everybody, if you like what you hear, go ahead and subscribe or hit the like button. If you don't like it, then you can turn channel. It's cool. I'm not gonna be mad.
Oh,
We'll be talking anyway because that's what we do. But man, B, so obviously we're gonna start with the NBA, and for everybody who don't already know, we got two favorite teams that are we're fan our fan bases are not friends most of the time, except for me and you. We cool,
yeah.
but we'll start with my NBA team, which is the Lakers. Obviously, you're a Warriors fan because there isn't much to talk about.
This would be very quick, people.
This will be very, very quick. So the first thing I will start off by saying is, well, we suck, and that's why we didn't make the playoffs. Simple and plain. Yeah, man, you talk about a monumental failure, man. I'm telling you, all that star power, all the people that came, they didn't even make the playing tournament. And let me explain to you how bad that is. Um, Nobody said we were talking about winning a championship. It's a lot of games between the fifth seed and the 11th seed. They didn't make anywhere in that area. They missed five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. They missed all of it. They didn't even they didn't even come
They,
in at eight.
they
So
overshot it. They
they missed
overshot the prediction real quick.
exactly. They missed the whole board, and for good reason. They're a terrible team. They play bad all season. There's nothing about what they've done this season that's proved anything or would show that even if they made the playoffs in the play-in tournament, they would get smacked by the Suns or the number two seed or the Grizzlies.
Or yeah,
There's no way they had an opportunity. So kudos to LeBron for showing up and kind of I mean, he did take the last couple of games off. I can't blame him. He was like, what, it's a lost cause. I'm out. Anthony Davis shows up for some reason to play a couple of games. I have no idea why he even bothered
I
coming
think
back.
he, I
That was
think he
dumb.
remembered he had an NBA contract and was like, "Oh, I should probably fulfill this contract." But he also had an obligation to get hurt for most of the season too, so he fulfilled both contracts for him. I feel like he's just robbing the league of money right now. These poor people are just paying
Well,
him, and he can't even stay on the court
there are
anymore.
some other guys that are stealing money, like Kirk Cousins. But he's not the worst. He's not the worst offender. John Wall didn't even play a game this season. He made $45 million. So I mean, there are worse. But I will say that a man like AD who has baby Bambi legs, he does not need to come back for an additional 2 games to play. He should have
For
just stayed home. Uh,
a man his size and stature, you figured he'd do a little leg lifting, but I mean,
no, he ain't
guess
got no leg day, man.
not. He got rest day, which is basically most of the time off for him.
Yeah, yeah, it's whack. So man, I just thought I would touch on my team real quick and talk about how great the offseason will be, which is a conversation we can get into at some other time in the future, because that's just me being optimistic. we
Well, we can see what they do with these contracts. I think that'd be the best time to talk about them is when they figure out
Yeah,
what they.
when this contract time, absolutely, man. So let's pivot from my pitiless Lakers, excuse me, over to your
That's that.
Warriors.
Yeah,
Your
let's
Warriors, who
uh,
are now they're right now they're in the third seed, for now, and it looks like they will stay in the third seed. I don't think they're going to have any trouble beating up the Pelicans. They're up by 20 points, 22 points, so I think they got this in the bag. So great season first half, kind of backsliding in a little bit, man. They look like they had the injury to Steph Curry, which obviously set them back, but they've had some bad losses to some not so great teams. I'm curious what you think about one, Curry coming back and being ready, and then two, are they still a championship contender?
Kerr's lying out of his ass right now. Says Curry's status is up in the air for Game One. You know damn well he's playing in Game One. The Warriors may
It's a
not even
joke.
make it out of the first round without him. Now it's. I think that will all depend on. I think Jordan Poole will be their X factor if Curry does not go because he is going to be asked to start at the point guard position. Um, in his absence there. But I do believe if Curry does play, they make it out of the first round. There's been a lot of talk on who would the Warriors want to play if they made it out of the first round. Please, for the love of God, give us Memphis. There is so much bad blood between these two teams. As much as it was just like when Portland and the Warriors faced off a lot in the season,
Yeah.
you're now seeing Memphis and the Warriors have a little bit of a beef with each other. Memphis has been on the door countless with their teams here, and Warriors have taken them right off that stool there. This is a team who's got Memphis hates Andre Iguodala with a passion too. For those of you who don't know, the Warriors sent him to Memphis, and Iguodala said, "I do not want to play one game in Memphis."
That's right. I forgot about that.
Organization ends up in Miami,
and he was golfing. He was golfing the whole time. I remember that.
He didn't even step foot into camp, and this is as Memphis was looking to maintain that build there, and he didn't want to be there, and that sent Memphis into a frenzy there. So I believe it is personal with the Warriors and Memphis here in regards not only to that, but just the history over the last 6 years when it's come down to the playoff, and that includes last year's playing game as well. Memphis took them.
They
Warriors out of that plane.
Yeah, they did.
So the Suns, I don't think the Warriors are too worried about because there's nothing really there, and Phoenix is by far just a scary team that anyone's going to have to face. But I think if they get out of the first round, it's going to be a hell of a matchup. I think there's going to be a lot of personal bad blood. You're going to have Ja Morant versus Steph Curry, and the entire Memphis organization, fan base, and team against Andre Iguodala, who's going to play about 5 minutes a game. So you guys can have.
I don't, you might be right. There might be some bad blood with Andre Iguodala. I'm not sure who cares about Andre Iguodala no more, but still,
Memphis about him. They came out.
They got Ja, man. They got all types of young guns. They ain't worried about Andre Iguodala. But I will give you this: you guys have a better opportunity of beating Memphis than you do the Suns. Okay, and the only reason I say that is because Memphis has great players, but they're all young players. You got a lot of young guys who this is their first time being the top dog instead of just chasing, because they're used to being in the bottom portion of that bracket so that they can kind of be the underdog. They can't play the underdog anymore. They have to be the team that other teams are coming after, and that's what I think them going into the playoffs. It's going to be an extra level that they have to ascend in order to beat you guys in a 7-game series. I love Ja. I love the defensive minded team that they have. They have a very deep team with guys coming off the bench that can contribute. But when it comes to the playoffs, it really is a 6 or 7-man rotation. And you guys the Warriors still have the 2 best shooters in the history of the game. And if you can get a good showing from Wiggins or Poole or Kuminga, it really is only going to take 1 or 2 of those guys to show up in order for you to win the ball game. You know what I mean? So, I really like Memphis. I like what they're doing. But if they meet you guys in the second round, I do believe that you guys have a good opportunity to beat them. Just because you're as long as Curry's healthy, obviously, you have the championship experience. Memphis does not. That's why I think that's a great matchup. The Suns, on the other hand, the Suns are different. The Suns have been we were in the finals last year, so they have some expectation coming in. And to me, they've been the most consistent team all year. They've been by far the number 1 team in the league for most of the season, except for the first 25 to 30 games when the Warriors were in that top slot. So yeah, man.
30 games. God, for those 30 games.
Right.
Did you see Ja Morant on the sidelines today? He had about 19 diamond chains. He wore his St. Louis hat about 40 different ways. It got to the point where it was just he put his hoodie over his head. Why is he even wearing a hat? His hair can't even allow for that to happen.
His hair is 3 different colors.
It's out the top of the hat and
that
shit right through it.
But
I swear to God, the way people are dressing nowadays,
man, it's all the league's gonna get mad. Watch.
Oh, well, no, they're not going to make them wear suits anymore. I mean, they haven't made them wear suits since after COVID hit.
You remember when they did that though? You remember when that went down? Remember they Allen Iverson, right?
He brought the ghetto to the bench, and they said, "You guys better put some fucking suits on."
Put some suits on. Put some suits on. Exactly. So yeah, they gotta they might switch that up, man. Guys keep showing up with 5 chains on and 3 different color hair. But you know what? Hey, Russell Westbrook showed up. Russell Westbrook showed up with a halter top on. So at this point, I don't think it really matters. You know what I'm saying? With James Harden, he liable to show up with a see-through shirt on, and a skirt. I don't know what's gonna happen, So I don't think the NBA is not going. The NBA ain't touching that with a 10-foot pole. They're gonna be like, nah, I'm cool. Y'all go ahead and do what you do.
Some of these guys, they're walking down the ghetto trying to sell ass with these outfits, man.
Well, man, there's been some. Did you see the Kyle Kuzma fit with the sweater with the arms that went down to his ankles?
Looks like an inflatable guy that you see in front of
the ones that be in front of in front of the gas station, just flinging. Oh my god! I'm like, man, are we in Sesame Street or is this an NBA basketball game? Y'all out here looking crazy, but
this one might as well be Sesame Street.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But back to your Warriors. Currently, you guys are in third. You're probably going to end up facing the Denver Mavericks. Denver Mavericks.
Huh?
That's a new team. Look out for them. They coming. No, the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets. I don't think you guys have a chance. I don't think Denver has a chance against you guys. They don't have Jamal Murray. They don't have enough scoring to keep up. Jokic is going to be a handful for y'all, but I don't see it.
Stop Jokic.
Yeah, that's it.
They limped into this playoffs. It's they stayed hot through the season and then kind of teetered to get through. But the thing was they put themselves in a position where they weren't going to drop into a playing game because the West you're under 500 in a playing game. So I think they were okay in that aspect there. But I mean, outside of Jokic is no one. No. You name me a score on Denver outside of Jokic, and
they've been really relying on their bench and a lot of scoring by committee, to get things done. I mean, you got guys out there like Austin Rivers, who we haven't seen in forever. He's out there making an impact on that team just to kind of show you what they do not have because they're missing their A1 in Jamal Murray. Your boy, what's his name, Porter Jr. He's been out for the entire season after they gave him a big bag this offseason, about 150 or whatever it was $1 million. So they're one of the teams that are probably looking more towards next year. Although they'll compete because they're a young team, they're not going to do anything, and they don't have a chance against y'all. Y'all gonna smoke them, man. I already know that. So, but
that's a very place.
Yeah, man. Well, I mean, come on.
If
he's gonna play, come on, B. Come on, it's the playoffs, man. Yeah, he's gonna play. Come on.
Greatest time of the season coming up for basketball fans.
Who is he? Ben Simmons? Is he not gonna show up? Yeah, no, he ain't Ben Simmons. He'll play. He's Steph Curry.
Speaking of Ben Simmons, there is talks that if Brooklyn makes it out of this play-in tournament, that he's going to be ready for Game 1, or there's a possibility that he'll be ready for Game 1. There's a possible chance.
Well, well, first off, can someone tell me why he's not playing? Why is he? What's the injury?
His vagina got hurt.
Oh my god!
He was staying still all the time, so he's still feeling the effect of it as well.
Yeah, his pride is hurt. His feelings are hurt, but his body is fine. I mean, I don't see any reason. They're saying he might play in the first round. They have a playing tournament that these guys have to get through. I mean, you've got Brooklyn and you've got Cleveland matching up at the 7 and 8, and there isn't a promise that Brooklyn will make it out of that.
I don't think it's going to. I think. I hope he just doesn't fucking play.
He's not.
I'll just leave it.
He's not gonna play. It's not.
I don't even know where to go with this right now. He's. We've spent time talking about him that we have in any aspect, and he hasn't even stepped foot on a fucking court. And spend more time talking about this waste of fucking air.
Yeah, he's not at all. He hasn't been an impact player over a year now. Last time we saw him, he was in the playoffs, pooping his pants, missing, skipping layups and throwing the ball to no one.
looking like me at a pickup game shooting layups, man. I can't hit a fucking layup
Well,
for the
first
life
off,
of
first
me.
off, I would have taken way more shots
I
than
think it
Ben
was.
Simmons. I wouldn't have just taken 2 shots. I'm 6'10", man. Come on, like I gotta. Come on, I gotta do something.
You're
Yeah,
right.
all right,
You're
come on,
right.
B.
But last week we talked about who we would have which teams would come
Yeah,
out of the playing tournament on the east side. They're going to be playing each other
that's
with
right.
the Cavs and the Nets. I think I think the Cavaliers are getting out of this playing tournament.
Oh,
Uh,
okay, upset. Huh? All right.
I believe it's an upset. They're going to go into Brooklyn and they're going to win that game.
Okay.
Jared Allen, is that his name?
Yes, Jared Allen, the center. Yes.
Dunking on KD.
Did he do that already? That's on everybody.
He's
Man.
gonna he's
That's
gonna
him
do it
today.
again. He's
But
gonna
is
put
it?
his nuts in his face and everything. Oh, it's going to be amazing here. But I believe they are going to beat Brooklyn in that first
All
playing
right.
game to
All right.
to get in as the second seed, and then they're gonna lose the next series. Though that's a
Yeah.
dangerous team that they're gonna be running
Yeah.
in that as well.
So what I got is,
yeah.
of course, last week I talked about Brooklyn. You know, I think Brooklyn was going to come out of the play-in tournament, so I'm going to stick with that. I think Brooklyn Cavaliers again, a very good young team. You know, Evan Mobley. We just talked about Jared. You know, Jared Allen, Darius Garland. You know, these are some nice young talented players. But at the end of
You got
yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, the Brooklyn has two of the best scorers in the game, and it won't just be them playing; it'll be them motivated and playing, because I doubt very seriously after all that's gone on this season that they want to get bounced out in a play-in tournament. So I really think you're going to get a very invigorated Kevin Durant, which he's been playing pretty well. He's playing really good tail end of the season anyway. But you're going to get a very good Kevin Durant and a good Kyrie Irving. In my opinion, either one of those players can beat the Cavaliers by themselves. You know, offensively at least. So in order for the Cavs to win, it's going to have the jump shots for the Nets. They would have to not have a good shooting night. That's number one. Defensively, they're gonna have to pick a poison. Okay, we either focus on KD or we focus on Kyrie and hope that the other one doesn't kill us. And I think that's the only way that they can get out of this thing alive, man. Other than that, I just feel like those two players motivated are going to knock down shots, and I don't know if the Cavs have enough offensive energy or offensive shooting in order to combat that, you know.
Well, here's the Cleveland has zero to play for. They're not even supposed to be in this tournament right now. So for the life of them, this is just free money for them right here. And I think that they're just going to go into this game. I guarantee they're not expected to win this game against Brooklyn.
Of course.
And because of two factors, because of KD and Kyrie, and I give them credit, they are playing good for this down stretch here. But when you look at the last few games they played, it is taking them to score damn near 60 points combined for them to be winning these games right now. Brooklyn wasn't too far of not even playing in this playing tournament.
Yeah.
And now they're going to run into a team that has no expectations. It's a young team. You have two people on there who have deep playoff experience, Kevin Love and Rajon Rondo. You know, and I don't even know if Rondo's going to even start for them. I wouldn't be shocked if he did, but also wouldn't be shocked if he didn't because they have Colin Sexton out there too. So it's a young team. They're going to run up and down the court. I think they will get themselves in trouble in a few possessions. They're going to try to outplay themselves like they normally do, but I think they have nothing to lose. And Brooklyn has all this pressure on them. They're in the play-in tournament. They were supposed to be the number one seed in the East, and now they're fighting for their playoff lives. And so I think that added pressure is there. You do have KD and Kyrie who are balling, but you're asking 60 points for them to win this to win a play-in tournament. That's going to be a lot to ask for between the two here. So I just don't see Cleveland having anything to lose. I mean, now granted, the other play-in tournament game isn't really all that, you know, isn't all that appealing. I mean, you have
Who are we talking about? Which one?
the,
The East?
the East,
Oh,
yeah.
Atlanta and Charlotte? Oh, man, that's going to be. Okay, B, hold on. I'll help you out.
Help me.
So this game is gonna be the low key game you need to watch. This is gonna be a great offensive performance. You got two guys, or maybe more than two actually, if you count the two guys on Charlotte when we're talking about Ball and Bridges. You're gonna have guys showing out. Neither one of these teams is very good defensively, but what they can do is they can put up points. And I think although this game might not have an impact on the playoffs overall as a whole, I think this will be the most entertaining of the four games because I really think these two teams, like you said about folks like having nothing to lose, they don't have much to lose. Charlotte, this is their first time in, so they're going to be playing hard. I really think this is going to be one of those 139 to 141 classics. I think it's going to be a good offensive game, and it might not have the best. It might not be much defense being played, but as far as just to watch, I think it might be entertaining. I think it might be an entertaining game.
Hey, you are right in that aspect, but that's probably going to be the only action they get because one of those teams, the Hornets or the Hawks, are coming out of that playing tournament. Yeah, I think it's Cleveland and Brooklyn that is going to do it here, but I think Cleveland gets in first.
So who you got? Who you got? Atlanta, Charlotte though. We can't just skip over them like they don't exist. You got Charlotte? All right.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. And the only reason I'm with you is because Atlanta, I've seen them play a lot. You know, they're very up and down when it comes to jump shooting, and they are a jump shooting team. And Trae Young does some weird stuff, man. Like he has plays where you'll be like, man, this guy a future Hall of Famer, All-Star. But he's gonna pull up from the logo and shoot an air ball a few times a night. I mean, that's just kind of the dude that he is. So I really like Charlotte because I feel like they have more offensive players that can contribute consistently. Capella and Young and Collins and was it Herder? I hope I'm saying his name right. Herder. Yeah. Anyway, they I don't think have enough grit to beat the Charlotte Hornets. I really like the Hornets. They got a lot of nice young players. You know, we already talked about them in the last one, Rozier, and they even got Gordon Hayward hanging around there somewhere. So they might break the emergency glass and pull Gordon Hayward out and put him on the floor. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think I like Charlotte. I like Charlotte too.
It's like Disney and unfreezing Walt Disney to come out and handle all this
negativity.
Yeah. But who knows? But regardless who comes out, I think you are right in that aspect. That will be an entertaining game just because of the firepower just the young talent that's there. These are two very young teams in that discussion there. But honestly, it's going to come down to it. Cleveland and Brooklyn are going to represent the East in the 7 seeds. So, that's going to be, I think, any matchup Brooklyn has will get magnified because of what they were supposed to be. And whether that's going to be against or the Heat, who locked up the 1 seed, it's either going to be the Celtics, who quite frankly, no one should be looking forward to play right now.
That's who Brooklyn's going to end up playing, man.
That is going to be a series when you look at and Jaylen Brown versus Kevin Durant and Kyrie. Yeah. That's going to be some entertainment right there. That's going to be a match that's going to be worth watching. Can the Celtics finally break this? Because it's only a matter of time until this. If the Celtics don't do anything in the next couple of years with the talent that they have, I think the team gets dismembered after that.
Yeah.
They're not living up to the expectation, and now they have expectations because god damn they were scary for the last month and a half of the
season. Ever since the All-Star break.
That defense was monstrous.
Yeah, man. Dude.
No one in a shot that was even uncontested shot against the Celtics was almost irrelevant.
Right.
They were all over people. So
yeah. And then we're skipping ahead a little bit, but yeah, the Celtics have been great since the All-Star break. They really found their stride defensively. And that's what's changed the game for them. they really have a lot of young talent or guys that are in their prime playing on the wing. And by making those guys commit defensively, that changes the game. You're talking about Jaylen Brown, Tatum, and Marcus Smart. Those are your three wings. If those guys are committed to playing defense, they make they make it difficult on any wings that are in the game currently against them. So it's gonna be rough sledding for them. Tough sledding for whoever got to play them. So who's next? Oh, we get to talk about my favorite team. All right. So let's talk about
your favorite team, the best.
Let's talk about little sister Clipper. Little sister Clipper. So the Clippers have the whatever, man. The Clippers are playing Minnesota. So this is all about Patrick Beverley. He gets to play against his old team, so we're gonna definitely see some technical fouls. We're gonna see some pushing and shoving and talking and a lot of bravado coming from Patrick Beverley, who I do not like. I despise him. I think he's a joke. But it's gonna be interesting to watch. I do think this is a tough one. I think the Clippers with Paul George back, they definitely can beat Minnesota, but Minnesota has been the better team all season. Obviously the Clippers are missing Kawhi Leonard and Paul George most of the season. So anyway, but Minnesota has been a better team at least for the past few months, and I think Minnesota, Big Cat could very well show up and show out. My problem is I don't know. Who else is going to show out though for Minnesota? And that's the other thing. Like Edwards has been a highlight reel. He'll get up and dunk on people, but he's very inconsistent, and he's not a guy that can average 20 a night for you. D'Angelo Russell has been D'Angelo Russell, and these guys are again. Big Cat has been the driving force for them the past few months as they've been playing well. And the way I'm looking at it is the Clippers will come into this game saying, well, if we just shut down Big Cat, the rest of this is over. Let's shut down Big Cat, surround him, and force anybody else on this team to beat us. And I think, I can't really pick the Clippers to win because that's not something I can do. So even though I just said all that, I'm still picking Minnesota.
God damn it!
I cannot. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I cannot pick the Clippers to win anything. That's not how we roll. I'm a Laker fan. We can't do that. I can't do it.
That's a little hope in me, but I'm gonna say the Clippers.
Okay.
I will say the Clippers. They salvaged this season.
Yeah.
I think losing both Paul George and Kawhi Leonard almost at the same time. I didn't think we'd be having this discussion as far as them being in this game here, but they're there. And big ups to Ty Lue as well, who did a hell of a job with this team, getting them to stay committed to the process here. And I think the one factor for the Clippers that I think that will help them the most get in this game, Reggie Jackson actually had a pretty decent season this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I would even say it's probably his breakout season. I thought his time in LA wasn't as bad, was pretty good, but I think him and Paul George give them that scoring advantage over D'Angelo Russell and Karl Anthony Towns. Their roster isn't as deep. I mean, you have Marcus Morris who's back, but honestly, I would like to see them win. I was hoping they would run into Denver at some point, but there's no way that they would play Denver unless Denver pulls off a miracle against my Warriors. But there's still a lot of bad blood between Jokic, the Joker.
That's right, Morris.
Love to see that shit. But I think, it's a toss-up in this one. It's tough because you're just looking at there's no depth down in the center for the Clippers here. I honestly can't name their center for the life.
It's Ivica Zubac. So Ivica Zubac used to play for the Lakers. Yeah, he's there. He's been playing as their center when they're not playing small. Because sometimes they like to play small and they like to play Morris at the 4 or 5 and really run and get up the floor. They don't have they don't have a person that can necessarily line up with Big Cat, obviously. So it really is going to be a team effort from them to try to stop him.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, he's some 3-pointers, like hopefully, but
I
I really don't see that
yeah,
right now. That boy's
it's the
fucking lights
it's
out.
the playoffs. The more high percentage shots you can take in the playoffs, the better. It's not the regular
Yeah.
season. If he starts shooting a bunch of threes, I mean, I'd be like, nah, man, stop that. Tell D'Angelo Russell to help you out with that. Um, so the final matchup is one that is truly a barn burner. Probably one of the most exciting matchups I have ever seen on paper. This has to be the most exciting game of all four of these. The highly anticipated playoff team, the New Orleans Pelicans, who has been a monster franchise for the past 10 years and has really just set the league on fire with all of their great acquisitions through the NBA draft.
I want that can. Dude, I'm taking the Spurs. I'm not gonna entertain this game at all.
The Spurs.
We're not.
I,
We're gonna even have a discussion about the fucking teams with losing
I,
records in the playing tournament. God damn it, man! I'm not. They're not even worth. Both of them ain't making it. The two teams that are playing, the Wolves and the Clippers, are getting in.
yeah,
Just like the Cats and the Nets. At least you got a second entertaining game. This second entertaining game for the West, it's fucking pointless.
yeah.
It's my God. I'll take Greg Popovich all day to at least win one playoff game. After that, it's done. After that, I'm not watching that shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and pick San Antonio. It's Pop's last season. They'll win it for Pop. They'll get into that 8th seed and then get demolished by the Suns uh, in 5 games. So or 4 games, excuse me. So it'll be a quick and easy in and out for those teams. The Clippers would end up playing the Memphis Grizzlies, and that'll be an interesting matchup with Paul George returning. But I really think Memphis has been playing at a pretty high level all year, and they're playing at home. So I do not think the Clippers get past the first round of the actual playoffs. So no, they if they win, they will lose. If Minnesota wins, Minnesota will not beat Memphis either. Again, Brooklyn is probably the only team that I would see having a chance against any of these top seeded playoff teams.
Yeah, that's that's probably true. That sorry, Wes. I'm not talking about a 9-10 matchup that's under 500. That's
Yes,
the NBA. The NBA should just not allow those two teams to play and just let
just take it back to the way it was, man. I mean, we say participation trophy. We don't need it. We don't need it, man. It's gonna be bad. Yeah, the first couple of rounds. I mean, like I said, I mean, you're talking about San Antonio. If they win playing against Phoenix Sun, they're gonna get destroyed. We're talking
that's
Minnesota.
send them out. That's gonna get ugly.
It's gonna be like 40-point blowouts every night. So it's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be absolutely atrocious. Um, so I think we've covered who we've got, even though you didn't pick a winner from the New Orleans Pelican or San Antonio game. I guess you're just gonna leave that alone. So you're just gonna.
I said
Oh, you said San Antonio. Okay, San Antonio. Cool.
but that I wasn't gonna dive into that game because that game we're diving into.
Right.
You're gonna get blown
Oh,
out
man.
in the blown out in the second playing game or whatever the fucking case may be. But it's not.
So let's talk about 2 other NBA stories that came up this week, not Laker related. So don't worry, we're not going to talk about Frank Vogel getting fired because that's last week. I mean, of course he's going to get fired. If I was the coach, they'd have fired me too. That's just how it is. Let's talk about Joel Embiid being the first center to win the scoring title since Shaq back in 2000. That's crazy. I mean, big man on the rise. I mean, one thing I gotta say is, man, I always talk best about Embiid because first off, he got caught on the sideline eating a cheeseburger. Let's start with that. Anytime you get caught eating a cheeseburger on the sideline, we gonna talk about you because, and it wasn't so much that he ate the cheeseburger. It was then that when they went into the playoffs last year, he was so gassed in those fourth quarters, he couldn't even breathe. So exactly. So it was almost like Vonnie Divac used to smoke cigarettes. He smoked a pack a day. But I remember him playing in fourth quarters. What's going on? Like, so I really thought Embiid overall as a player really underachieved. Looking at the potential and the amount of talent and his size, he should have been a much better player. He took that criticism, internalized it, and this came out this season and proved himself to be that guy. So I got to give him big props for that because I really was down on the guy for a few years because all the talent was there, but the effort and the stamina and the things that he needed to be a bona fide superstar, he was missing. So kudos to you, Embiid. I don't know if your team gets very far this year. I hope James Harden helps you out, but you ain't.
Playoff
Yeah,
change.
you.
Now,
I don't know.
show.
You might lose to Toronto. I don't know.
I give MB credit.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
dominated the league in every aspect here, and each year he's gotten better. And I think that loss to Toronto in Game 7, was it Game 7
Yeah.
or Game 6?
Yep.
That
It was
miraculous
Game
shot
7.
from
Yeah.
Kawhi Leonard. I think that changed the nature of how he approached the game because they were close. I think that was the best chance Philly had on getting to the finals if it wasn't for that shot there. And I think he's been taking it personal since that game to get better. Um, that's why he wanted Ben Simmons on the court. But that's a whole different discussion. But I believe MB should be your MVP for this year. I think it's going to come down to him and Joker, the two centers of the league here. But the big men are a dying breed, and for this to happen in the league, you're going to have a big man win the MVP for the third straight.
Yeah.
You have a scoring title champion coming from the big man
Yeah.
in a guard dominant league. You got to give credit to the man, and rightfully so. So I give him credit for pulling this one off. It's all about what he does in the
playoffs.
playoffs.
Yeah.
His playoff caliber hasn't been questioned. I think it's the cast around him, and now that he's got James Harden, it's a bigger spotlight for them there. I think the East playoffs will be that much more competitive, but I think this is Embiid's best shot right here with the team that he's equipped with to make a deep
Well,
run.
I think Embiid had they thought that opportunity was last year. Whenever they lost to the Atlanta Hawks in the second round of the playoffs, that was terrible. So a lot of that blame was put on Ben Simmons, but like I mentioned earlier, those fourth quarters, Embiid was gassed, and you could tell. And there was a few games where they had a lead going into the fourth, and Atlanta came all the way back, beat them, and won the game because their star player was not capable of playing at the same level the last 5 minutes of the game. So for me, I think he still has something to prove, and that's, can you help finish games? Can we play you the last 5 minutes of the game and you're still you're still the same guy you were in the second quarter? So I'm curious to see how that goes. I think James Harden's going to take a lot off his plate, but James is not the greatest playoff player either. You know what I'm saying? So there's some questions to be answered here. I don't think the 76ers are necessarily a shoe-in. And if I had to match them up against the Heat today, I would pick the Heat. I wouldn't pick the 76ers. So I think they're going to have to really kind of show us in this first round against Toronto by being a dominant team. If they go into Toronto and ends up being a 6 or 7 game series, I'm not going to look at them the same. I'm going to be like, yeah, okay, well, good luck against Miami. Let me know how it go. But that's not to take away from Embiid's scoring title. Kudos to him, but just kind of looking forward a little bit. They alright. They ain't the best. They alright. And now, the other story is one that we touched on a little bit, but we can kind of expand on, which is Ben Simmons. And the story you mentioned to me before the show, which was that Ben Simmons might, he might play in the first round of the play, not the play-in, but in the first round of the playoffs. So, my opinion on this is that Ben Simmons is not important. He's not a factor, and I don't anticipate him playing at all this season, in my opinion, because I don't know what's wrong with him. I don't know why he's hurt. He cried and complained about playing for the Sixers, and that seemed to be his injury, was that he was playing for the Sixers, and then he left. He left.
He got a pap smear done in Philly, and it ruined his vagina a little too much. So wanting to sit out for this time being. I think if he comes back to play with Brooklyn for the playoffs, he fucks Brooklyn's chances up real bad. There's a because he's not been on the court with those two,
Yeah.
and he's gonna ruin that chemistry. I think it's best if you sit out. Don't even talk about coming back. Nobody wants you back in these playoffs here. I mean, if Brooklyn sees Philly in the playoffs, yeah, then that's something that's worth talking about. But Brooklyn manhandled Philly in that one matchup with James Harden and Embiid versus Durant and Kyrie Irving.
Yeah.
So I don't think Ben Simmons is going to really mean much to Brooklyn if he came back. I think it's better that he just, continues to massage his vagina, make sure that it's fully healthy for next season. So when he wants to be back on the court, when he wants to play basketball, he's there. So I don't come back.
Yeah.
Leave it into the hands of KD and Kyrie and that cast there because you're asking for a team to gel in the playoffs when they haven't played with each
No,
other.
it's not gonna happen.
It's outrageous. It's
No.
not gonna happen.
Yeah, I think Ben Simmons is just kind of one of those guys where there was a lot of emphasis put on his potential, just like most young players. Zion Williamson, there's some other guys you could throw in there, and ultimately when it's time to actually play the game of basketball, these guys get to a certain level and then they stop. And that's what happened with Ben Simmons. He's got to a level and then he got stuck there thinking that was the best that he could be or he was good enough to be an all-star player. What they don't understand is the guys have to keep adding to their game year after year and become better as they get older, especially when they're going into their prime. I mean, we were talking about Jason Tatum and the kind of player he is. It's not the same player he was 5 years ago. It takes a lot of progression to get to that point. He always had the skill. He always had the potential, but he's starting to fulfill that potential with both confidence, but then also being the leader on his team. He's the guy that they look to. He's the guy that handles the ball majority of the time. He's the guy that they look to make plays in the fourth quarter. He's the man. And he's filled that role by proving to his teammates that he can get it done. Ben Simmons thinks that he's already got it figured out, even though he has a limited game. And it's not going to work because it could work in Brooklyn because he won't be asked to shoot. But if the guy is in a position to where mentally he can't bring himself to play the game of basketball, there's no cure for that. There's no coming back from that. You gotta be mentally vested in order to play the game at a high level. And it's not to be rude, but there are no weak-minded people winning championships. That's not how it works. I love Paul George, but Paul George was skittish about playing in the bubble, and they skittishly found their way out. You have to be prepared to play, and I don't think he is. And so he's not going to play the rest of the season, just X him out. When he comes back next season, let's see what he does. Let's see how good he is. If he can at least prove himself to be marginally as good as he was prior, meaning he's just a 6'10" point guard who can shoot layups and pass the ball, that's fine. And it might work on this team. But I need to see something that shows me that he's not just a potato. I see some heart from these guys. Guys got to show you heart. They got to really put something on the line to show you that they really want to play, and he hasn't done that yet. When the lights got bright, he shrunk. And so he's got to prove that. He's got to prove that he can actually be a high quality player playing at a high level in highly pressurized and competitive games.
Yeah, I agree. So, but I'll wait till next year. This year he could.
He's not gonna play, man. He's trash.
Let's switch sports here for a second. We're gonna talk about a sport. I know you're not very high on
hockey.
No, that's fucking good lord. I'm surprised it's still relevant in the United States. But let's talk about baseball. Baseball's back. Yeah, baseball's almost getting to me. I'm still pissed off about the lockout and just the crying back and forth. Mostly the owners here that really ruined the excitement for baseball here, but it's back. It's good to see. First and foremost, got to start. Anytime I talk about baseball, I was going to say this: the Dodgers suck, and I mean that from the heart. Until the day I fucking die, that entire team could trip and fall off the next curve that they see, and I would not be mad about it there.
I think if you had said you were a Giants fan, I think you would accomplish the same goal. People will understand. I'm a Giants fan. Oh, well, you don't like the Dodgers then? I mean, it goes hand in hand.
Some the rivalry that is the Giants and Dodgers. And sometimes when you explain it to people, they go, well, it's not that important. It's that important. When you talk about Northern California,
Yeah.
Southern California, it's that important when it comes to that, to football, to basketball. We don't like each
No.
other. It could be down to fucking badminton for all I care. You Northern California shuttlecocks versus the Southern California weed whackers. I could give two shits less. I'm rooting. I'm hating on that Southern California team. You know, they make these poor kids up here wear these Dodger uniforms, and kids up here in the Northern Bay Area getting booed for wearing little leaguers wearing Dodgers gear. But kudos to baseball for getting their shit together. I'm still not happy with it, but it's there. I sold out stadium all weekend for the Giants, but come tomorrow, a Monday night game, fucking 55 degrees with the wind blowing, to be about 15,000 people
Oh,
there.
I
So that's
love
what
that
baseball.
San Francisco evening, baby. It's the worst.
You know, I'm going to give my predictions now for who I think will come out of each division and also end up winning the World Series. When it comes to the East, to the American East, I should say, I'm going to go with Tampa Bay. You know, they've got a lot of young guys. They're just 2 years removed from being in the World Series, so I believe they've got a really good chance on making some noise there. I don't want to hear another story about the Yankees or the fucking Red Sox. That shit gets old real fucking quick. Like, there's other teams in baseball, man. It's
Hey,
every
1950s, right? Let's take it back to the 1950s, Brian.
Bro, MLB sucks between the Red Sox and Yankees so much, dude. It's like, goddamn. The first Sunday night game of the year, what is it? Is the Yankees and Red Sox. So lay off of it, MLB. There's other teams out there who deserve a Sunday night spotlight. I'm just saying here. In the Central, hey, you'll like this team name here. You know how teams are transitioning from being called, you know, from tribal Americans, like the Washington Commanders now. The Commanders. Well, now there was the Cleveland Indians, and now the Cleveland Guardians of the Galaxy.
Wait, they changed their name to the Guardians?
They changed their name to the Guardians, the Cleveland Guardians of the Galaxy here. And boy, do they play like shit, too. So that's the I'm not going to worry about. But the name, come on, Cleveland. They were better named than the fucking Guardians. And the little logo's got little wings on it. It says G with the baseball logo on it. Top 5 worst logos in the fucking league right now.
So who's their marketing? They got to do better than that. I mean, the Guardians. I mean, they could have come up with something else.
Marvel.
Not from Cleveland, but there's got to be something they could have pulled out their butt, right?
You would think so, right? But Chicago White Sox, I think, are going to be their top team, the top team there. And if you haven't looked at the Chicago White Sox uniforms, Nike unveiled these City Edition uniforms. Chicago had the best one. Pinstripe says Southside right across from it.
That's nice.
I almost couldn't find one. It was dope. It was dope. In the West, you've got the cheating Astros who never lived that down. The Oakland A's who can't afford to hold a player because of their salary here that just doesn't allow them to keep players are going to finish in last. The Angels are going to be the most just disappointing team with you've got 2 MVPs on that team. You have up and coming rookie, left-handed hitter. Again, I don't know his name because baseball don't promote their players. But if I had to choose a team who was just as close from even getting into the postseason, it'd be the Seattle Mariners. They were fucking good last year towards the end. They ended up trading their closer at the trading deadline when they're in the middle of a fucking playoff push. Like, that blew my mind. I'm like, you guys are trying to make the playoffs. Let's get rid of one of our key assets here. So
I'll never understand baseball because of how the payroll and the salary cap works, man. Because there isn't one. So it's just a very strange thing.
If you wanted to get paid, Bobby Bonilla is the greatest example when it comes to baseball. This dude has not played in the league since the fucking 90s, and the Mets owe him $1 million every year baseball starts.
What?
He is still making money.
Would he sign a lifetime contract or something?
I don't know what he did, but he finagled that contract where he get paid $1 million a year
for the rest of his life. Wow.
I was just impressed by that.
Lifetime contract.
I mean, when we talk contracts, baseball is the one that you're guaranteed all of that money. You sign it, you get it. That's the best thing about baseball. They're given the money, but then again, they want to argue that the players are making too much money.
Yeah, but the owners pay the players. So owners
Yeah,
have to
but the
look at the
problem is,
mirror and figure that one out.
as soon as all this riffraff happens, and then they get this lockout started, there's players signing 8-year, $100 million contracts. So don't give me this shit
Yeah.
that you're not that you don't want to pay your players. You literally just went out and paid them.
It's talent. It's
Um,
talent, man, because no matter what, right? It's about how many butts can I put in the seat, how many hot dogs can I sell. Baseball has mega million $1 billion stadiums all across the nation, and that's how owners make a good deal of their money. So they need those concession stands. And in order to get folks into that ballpark, you gotta have top tier talent. So it's the price, it's the price of the business, man. They can't front like they
uh,
don't know.
for the National League here, my prediction out of the East, ooh man, the Braves just won a title. Baseball's the hardest sport to repeat as a champion. Like I can't remember the last time there was a back-to-back champion outside of the Yankees. I think that was the last one. But I think the Phillies are going to be the best team coming um, out of that division. In the Central, it's always St. Louis. So why fucking argue with that? That's like watching Alabama win the SEC every year. Shit. God's sakes. And then the West, my division here. We're gonna go. I'm just gonna go out on a limb, and I'm not being a homer or anything, but just because they creeped up on people last year, and they're gonna do it again this year, and I'm gonna say the San Francisco Giants are gonna win the West this year. Um, Dodgers are. It's gonna finish. It's gonna be those two teams again. I swear to God, they blow up San Diego like they're supposed to be the best fucking team in this league. I'm gonna lose my shit. I hope they finish under 500 this year. I think representing the National League in the World Series will be the Philadelphia Phillies. That is a very, very good team in that there. And then coming out of the East on a limb, I'm going with it. I don't care what anybody says. The Chicago White Sox will be. Those two teams will play for the World Series championship. And
Because of the jersey?
yeah, 100% for
I
the
mean, it's
jersey.
gotta be,
That's
right?
what. That's what. Oh, to all my Dodger fans out
Oh
there,
my, right.
you guys can continue having your hot dog eating contest with that Dodger dog. I've seen a few of you guys eat that thing without taking a bite and just swallowing it whole, just like the rest of your fucking fan base does. So suck on that, Dodger fans, and don't
Just
kiss
you,
my ass. I'm going with that. I can't fucking stand
couldn't
it.
help yourself,
That's
could you?
it.
All right.
Could really, oh, wait until the two teams play each other, man. It's gonna be even more better than that. All right, Tosh, we're getting towards the end of our show
Yep.
here. We talked about this earlier. What is your? We want to talk about some of our greatest things about sports
Yeah.
here.
Okay.
For you, what is the greatest sporting moment, event that you watched either on TV, in live, that you can always sit there and go to and say, that is the one thing that you always remember? We all have a ton of
Oh
memories here,
man.
so the best one for you that you could just think of to date that would just you picture yourself there like you were watching it or you were in the stands at the same time. Like what's that one memory that sticks with
Well,
you?
growing up as a kid, when they were giving out, free Warrior tickets because Warriors sucked, I used to, I used to be able to go and watch Warrior games. And I always used to enjoy going and watching the Lakers play the Warriors throughout the years. Those have been some good games. But those games weren't very interesting, again, because the Warriors were trash. So, as far as memorable moments, there's so many, and a lot of them are built around me watching basketball. I'll have to say, um, man, it's tough, but one I remember is the fourth quarter in Game 7 of the 2000 NBA East Western Conference Finals, where the Lakers were playing against the Portland Trailblazers at the time, who had Scottie Pippen, Jermaine O'Neal coming off the bench. They had a very young Damon Stoudemire, and Rasheed Wallace, Bonzi Wells. A nice little team. They were a good team. I think who else was it? Can't remember the other guy, but we were down by 13, I believe, going into the fourth quarter. 13 to 14 points going into the fourth quarter. I was at my dad's house watching the game on mute because everybody was asleep. And I was just I was watching the game, and I was so mad. It was Game 7. This was to go to the finals. This was for the first championship. and they were just getting their butts kicked. Portland had looked like the better team the entire game. And Glenn Rice hits a two or three before the fourth quarter to cut the lead to about 13. And then that fourth quarter, they go off. Kobe hits a few shots to get it started. Guys, you could just see the tide come in. The guys they started picking up steam. They started moving the ball quickly. Shaq got into the mix, started knocking down a few hook shots, and it just snowballed until finally they cut the lead. They cut into the lead, got the lead, and then of course everybody remembers the alley oop from Kobe to Shaq, which put them up by I believe about five. I think with less than a minute to go, or yeah, less than a minute to go. So that was one of my most memorable moments because I was on pins and needles the entire time. Of course, again, as a Laker fan, I've got a lot of great moments like that. That's probably one of my favorite. Football opening night, Chiefs Raiders. This was back in this was at the Coliseum when they were playing. Obviously, they were playing on the baseball field. Yeah, shut up. They I went when I was I went and watched this with a friend of mine. It was incredible, man. This was back when we had shoot, man. I'm trying to think of the quarterback that was running at the time. This was the Rich Gannon. This was the Rich Gannon days. So it was a big game. KC Oakland is always a big game. The crowd was so loud when you screamed you couldn't even hear yourself. It was crazy. Like everybody, and it was just all Raider fans, man. So it was just great just because I remember how we won that game. I remember how elated everybody was, how loud it was, where you could just hear the ring in your ear, and how drunk the people were. Guy next to me was just eating, completely grabbing peanuts out of somebody else's cup and just eating them. It was insane, man. I had to help a buddy of mine make it into the stadium. We almost didn't get to go to the game because the dude looked at me, looked at him, and said, "Hey, man, he's got to walk to get in." and I told, and I told,
On a weekend at
I
Bernie's
I
trying to
told
carry.
that bastard. I said, "Hey, man, come on, bro." Come on, big boy. I put that. I put the arm under the shoulder for him and held his ass up, and we made it up them steps. And
We're champion made. His champion moment was getting into
oh
that
yeah,
stadium.
champ. We almost didn't make it. I was like, man, I know you. I don't want to have to leave you here, but I'm gonna go to this game. And man, yeah, we made it. I lost him at some point because he went to find the bathroom. It didn't matter. We figured it out. But that was NFL. That was a great moment for me. But I've got a ton of stuff, a ton of basketball ones. That one just came to the top of my head because it was the first championship, and I probably was about. I want to say I was in middle school, so I want to say I was maybe 13, 14 years old, and that was a big moment for me. Them winning their championship and just the intensity and the pressure of that game. That was a historic game. Outside of the next game seven, I got to see, which was them versus the Celtics in Game 7, which was also that was another great series. So anyway, B, I'm gonna throw it over to you. What you got?
I think for me, I mean, obviously championships live in the moment,
Yeah.
but Game 5 of the NBA Finals, when the Warriors won their first
Oh
title
yeah.
in first Bay Area team to win a title on their home court. I remember driving so fucking fast from work. I think I left work a little early. I got into the scene. I went by myself too because tickets during that time were expensive and just no one was gonna look to pay top dollar to go there. I remember sitting center court at the fucking bird's nest,
Wow.
uh, at the very top looking down here. But it was one of the greatest atmosphere. I actually went to each and every one of the home finals games that the Warriors played in, but just being there and the atmosphere and as a diehard Warriors fan and seeing what bad seasons, like you say, the tumultuous draft picks that never panned out, to see everything kind of custom. They had already won a championship once, but just seeing it in person, seeing that Larry O'Brien trophy go in the air, seeing the Bill Russell MVP trophy go in the air as well was something special, man. And just the environment, the atmosphere, um, the beer that was being consumed by myself, building ladders, but just being on edge, man, and just, like you said, there's your friend eating peanuts out of somebody's hand or a cup, slapping high fives with random
Yeah,
strangers here.
exactly. Yeah. It's
It's
nothing like
that
that,
there.
man.
There was just nothing like it, man. And leaving the arena, fireworks popping off, DJ going off. You got Barry's own rappers getting into it as well. So that was probably one of my favorite sporting event memories to date here. Unless something tops that I go to.
Yeah.
But been to a lot of games. I think just watching that one in person and damn near, shitting bricks when they're coming back, and you don't know if this is gonna be the last
Right.
game you see. I'm not paying for fucking game 7 tickets.
Right.
You know,
They got to do it now. Yeah, right.
except better do this
You're
shit
right.
now. And thank God they did it. They did it on the court there. So that was one of my best memories there. So
Awesome.
you know, it's good to have fans back in the stands as far as that and people reliving their moments. So to anyone who's watching this, leave a comment in there. What's your favorite sports moment that you witnessed live or on TV that just sticks out to you the best? This is something that is true to your heart, man. Everyone works a very hard lifestyle and this is our entertainment. This is what we enjoy watching. This helps keep our mind off of a lot of things here. So,
Yeah.
share
Absolutely.
the love about your favorite sports moment, people. This is all nothing but love here. But, um, hey, man, this week we got NBA
Oh man, I'm
playoffs.
ready, man. I'm gonna be watching the play-in tournament in the middle of the week. So when I'm done with my work, I'm gonna turn on the New Orleans Pelican San Antonio game, and I'm gonna have a grand old time. No, I'm only gonna watch Brooklyn, Cleveland, and Atlanta and Charlotte. I'm gonna watch some of the Clippers in Minnesota, but I don't like the Clippers, so I'm not gonna watch a lot of their game. I'll just kind of keep the tabs on that. But ultimately, man, I'm looking forward to the weekend because that's when we'll really get into the actual playoffs. And we'll get a chance to talk to next Sunday. So Easter Sunday, April the 17th, we'll be here. I think we will. Are we taking a day? No, we're not taking a day off. We'll be here, and we'll be talking about more basketball and basketball playoffs, and we'll hit on some other topics in sports as well. And
Maybe our Jesus moment too. Since
hey, man, don't be talking about Jesus now. I don't be talking
I'm
about
talking about
Jesus.
positive.
Oh, okay, all right.
One more
Because
before we leave, shout out to Tiger Woods. Good to see you at the Masters.
Tiger Woods, y'all.
Tiger Woods, y'all. Hey, dude, the purse that the player took home to win the Masters was $15 million fucking dollars. God damn, just to hit a ball and go chase it. But
Man,
it's
golf
good
is-
to have that as a part of golf. I enjoyed getting up early in the morning Thursday and Friday and watching them tee off because it's you're watching greatness, and for those who don't watch greatness, you need to start watching
Yeah,
greatness.
when he was at 1 over, I was like, okay. But,
Yeah.
it kind of slipped apart there on Saturday. But in any case, we'll get to see him again. The sport needs him, so he'll be playing for quite some time. So it'll be fun.
Committed to another tournament already.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be fun to have him back. Golf just wants to be important again. So
Yeah.
what happens? Get your man back. I mean, look, talk about promoting their sport. Nike came out with a commercial the next day after Tiger played on Thursday.
Yeah.
It happened that quickly here.
They're smart.
Get a lesson.
They're smart.
It's a lesson. Promote your players.
That's right. All right.
All right.
All right.
Good night, America.
We're out. And if you liked it, then click like or subscribe. We appreciate it. Everyone, have a good evening. I'm going to bed. All right, B. Take it easy, man. All right.